late night painting. Wanted to do again some 40K painting. We're also going to be doing some Marvel Crisi Protocol painting as well. And we're going to get right to it. Ah, Jesus. Alright. We're going to continue with our 40K army that we were looking to paint. I'm sorry that this is such a late edition. We're probably going to paint for about an hour. I will have some more painting videos tomorrow. As I continue to get things moving forward. So that's weird. To really shake this up, this paint. There we go. Consistency again. Alright, it's good to have you guys back with me. We're painting our Lord Discordant. And like I said, I will be doing some Marvel Crisi Protocol painting as well. And if you guys have questions or comments as we're painting, please don't hesitate. Ask. And as I always say, I may take a minute to look at my comments, but I can totally see the comments, so if you guys want to post questions or say hi or check in, that is 100% encouraged. Oh man. Alright, let's get our... And again, I am painting World Eaters. That's why you guys are seeing the blue and gold combo there. Gold. Gold is so watery. substitute the gold. I don't know what is going on with my gold. Okay, there we go. Now it's looking like the right consistency. Now it looks more viscous, which is perfect. Before it was looking very, very watery. Now it's properly shooken up. I think the paint just separated on it. Yeah, there we go. Now it looks more. It's still kind of watery, but. Alright, yeah. Yeah, there we go. That's a little bit more. It's a paintbrush. Alright, I may have to go buy. I believe I might have to buy a detail brush. I feel like I just bought this brush. I feel like I just bought this brush and like already I'm thinking I'm gonna have to change it. If you guys again have any questions, comments, please don't hesitate to throw those up. I always love to hear also, I say it a lot when I'm painting, but if there are projects that you all are working on, I love to hear about them. You know, if you guys are painting a new army, or if you're painting new just models in general. You know, maybe you're getting into a new tabletop game. It doesn't have to, you know, only be Warhammer. There's a lot of great games out there. You know, I play quite a bit of tabletop games, so I'm not going to say that Warhammer is the only game out there, nor is it the only good game. A lot of really good tabletop games out there, and of course, you know, I can see everybody, you know, depending on what army you played in 40K, you might be taking a break because of the new edition rules. Like, a lot of us don't know exactly how a lot of the factions are going to work. You know, obviously, from the rule set, we can all, you know, make inferences and interpretations. Of those rules, but until we actually get the physical edition changes or book changes, Oh man. You know, until we get those actual physical changes, we're not necessarily gonna you're not necessarily gonna have a full answer to what what you can expect on the tabletop. And for some armies, you may not even know exactly how they're going to play in the new rule set until we get some erratas. Because one would hope that we get some rule sets for these new I know for myself, I'm a Death Guard Orc player, so I'm intrigued as to how will my army fit into this, and how will my army fit into the new edition. So, sorry if I keep taking constant break, guys. I have to really work on my setup here and try to set things up a little bit differently moving forward. I realize that in my current painting setup, I have to do I have to squat, which is not comfortable to hold a pose like this for a minute. And like I said, if you guys have questions, comments, please don't hesitate to give me a shout or a holler on the chat. I can see the chat. It just takes me a minute to read it because you guys are behind me. This weekend in particular, I'm going to rework this area so I can have a better way to better setup for chat commentary. Just in general, so I can Hey, what's up? I see your meme. Not meme. I see your emoji. Gold trim is my nemesis. I kind of hate doing gold trim. I hate it more with this army because I have to do so much gold trim. fact, didn't it? There's gold trim everywhere on these guys. Alright, so apparently my fans are doing absolutely nothing to actually help me with cooling off this room. I'm realizing with all the lights that I use, I've actually increased a pretty nice sizable amount of the temperature in here. So I'm gonna have, that's why I'm gonna desperately work on another solution for cooling myself off while I paint. And I'm realizing that I have a very, very hard time with my painting, with staying cool in this room. And like I said, if you guys have questions, comments, and as I said earlier, if you have, I always like to hear when I'm doing my live painting and streams, what you all are working on. Do you have any cool projects on the horizon? Do you have any cool potential armies you might be working on? Are you looking into getting into other armies? Because obviously, we had a lot of big announcements for 40K. Not only did a lot of folks start playing around with, reviewing the new edition of the game, the new rule sets. But we just saw in Warhammer Community a bunch of new models for, some new models that are going to drop for some of the factions and armies that are out there, which I thought was pretty cool. I'm intrigued by 2 of the Necron models. Since I will be getting that half of the new box, and I did have some existing Necrons already in my repertoire, so I will be trying out the new Necrons. But they released 2 models. The Silent King, I believe, and what was the other one? Oh, that other lieutenant guy. That not lieutenant. What the hell? I can't remember the name of the model now. But it's like a pretty intimidating, interesting model. It's the one with the. It's like literally one of the Necron units, and it's like sucking the life force out of a guy who's like trapped underneath him, which is insane. Or not the life force. I think it's the psychic energy. He's like basically doing mean things to his mind. That's the best way to narrate that. He's brutally assaulting his mind with psychic powers, which I thought was pretty cool. I'm pretty down for that model. So, and I'm really looking forward to taking my Necrons and repainting them, because as you can see, I have other Necrons that are here, but this was the old. I was gonna go the old way, but I'm gonna start painting these guys up with the gold color scheme. I like that new gold army, so that's gonna be really cool. Again, I just complained about how I'm painting gold on everything, but I will be delving back into gold trim with my wonderful Necrons. I'm gonna do something. I gotta twist it up with the Necrons. I don't want to necessarily just do them in gold. I'm gonna spice it up. I gotta figure out a cool color scheme for them. And like I said, for everybody that's watching, if you are intrigued, if you like what you see, and you are new to this channel, please don't hesitate to give us a follow. Give us a like, follow, share things that you see. It is the way in which we can become much more popular, and move towards some other awesome things that we can start to do as we move up the Twitch food chain. It also helps with eventually, and maybe a company like Games Workshop being so inclined to send us some sample stuff, because right now, anything I do on GW stuff does require us here at the channel to invest the money in the models and the equipment and all that stuff. So your support does help with that. Whoa. Man, now I'm just trying to get that trim done, man. And if you guys have any suggestions or things like that, I love when people give us feedback here, or let us know ways we can improve. Jeez. All right. I'm all ears. I love hearing ways that are chatting at the channel. Wow, that's really disorienting to look down with these. Oh man. This is partially why also I'm going to try not to do videos this late for painting, because I have found that my efficiency at painting starts to dwindle when I get a little tired. But I didn't get you guys a painting video, and I felt so bad about it. So I'm like, that's it, gotta go paint. And quite frankly, I have so much in the way of models that I need to paint, not only commission work like what I'm doing right now, but also but I have a ton of other models. I have so many other models that are coming. The holiday, I think, put a little bit of a kibosh on me getting a few of the things that I thought I was going to be getting by now. So, and I will be starting, eventually, you guys will see a painting YouTube channel. I have to get that up and running. Because I will be having some exclusive reviews and such. So I want to make sure that I have a proper channel to display all that content, so you'll be seeing that too. What I'll be doing more than likely is I'll be doing the Twitch live video, and then I'll be throwing that up on YouTube as well. And then eventually, as I get some of the other content, some of the other things that I'll be doing, and some of the other content I'm looking to create, I will be adding that to YouTube as well. So there'll be some exclusive content there too that's not Twitch, that's not live stuff. A little touch up with blue, because I noticed as I was doing the little trim that there were some definite spots that I missed the blue in, so I'm just getting that all tidied up. And like I said, do not be a stranger, do not feel that you guys can't throw up any questions or comments, like I said, it may take me a minute just to flip over and see it, but you guys talking to me does not interrupt my painting, so don't think that you have to be silent. But like I said, please just be patient if I have to jump back over and look, because I have not yet reset up this desk where I can have access to something like that right there. So that's why you guys keep seeing me turn. I mean, also I'm doing it so I can talk to you guys on camera. But oh my god, what is going on with this gold? Why is it so watery? I think it's my brush. I think my brush has a little too much water in it. And of course, I'd love to know what you guys think. So of course, you might have seen me painting one of these Lord Discordants before. I'm matching the paint scheme, of course, because I want the whole army to have, of course, you want, for the most part, your army to have a unified paint scheme. Most people want to have an army that all looks like it's supposed to go together. But what I'm also doing on these Lord Discordants is I'm looking to give them some variation so that they don't all look exactly the same. So things like the mounts, obviously the mounts I'm going to keep that same color scheme. So the mount's always going to have the blue, the gold, and the white, and then I'm going to distress the white to make it look a little bit more interesting. But I'm going to change up little things about the mount. So like I changed up the eyes, the orb. So there's different colors at play. So they're not all looking the same. We're changing up the banner. I'm changing up some of the different armor. I'm going to change up his lance with different coloring. So it looks a little different. I'm probably going to work with the face mask on this one to make it look a little bit more distressed. In the case of this one, I'm probably going to add some blood effect to the mask so it looks like it's got a little different detail so that they come off as different individuals in the army, since they're going to be more unique characters. Ah, crap. Way too many models here. What blue is that? That blue, dun 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 dun, so I can bring it out to you, is this blue. So it's contrast Talazar blue. I wanted to use that blue because I liked it. It's a nice dark blue. I was thinking of I might still do it, but I was thinking about lightening up some of the blues with Calidor Sky. So putting Calidor Sky on top of that blue to give the highlights. Seems very shiny. It can come off as shiny. It has to do with the it has to do with the contrast paints. So if you let the contrast paints pool on the model, you can get that shiny effect because it becomes a pool. Are you using contrast, medium, or anything? No. I'm just using the straight contrast paints. But, as you can see, what you're going to notice I'm going to do, I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to go into the crevices and I'm going to put a lot more contrast on the edges, so it's going to create an edge darkening. And then the middle is going to be that But yeah, I may layer Calidor Blue on there to give it a little bit more of a highlight. Ooh, we got 6 people watching. Damn. Well, don't be shy, guys. Ask more questions. I love the questions already, and I think that's an amazingly good. I like when people ask me what paints I'm using, because I am sometimes notoriously bad at telling you what paint I'm actually using or coloring with. So, 100%. Ask away. And any other questions that you might have. And like I said, just be patient with me, because if I'm painting on this side, I can't see the comments. I have to look back around. So, but yes, we are painting a Lord Discordant. This is World Eaters, which is why you see the color scheme that we're using, and this is a mixture of contrast and traditional Citadel paints. And I know it was asked if I'm using a media agent with contrast or other stuff. I actually do a lot of. I haven't gotten to it yet, but I will do a lot of techniques where I'll mix traditional GW paints with the contrast. So I'll actually mix colors together. I'll mix paints together, which is kind of like, it's similar to using the mediums, but it'll give a little bit more custom color to the model. So I do that a lot with, I'll mix in white or I'll mix in black into the contrast paints to do some custom colors and to change the consistency of it. I moved my paint around. Lots and lots of gold trim. Couldn't have this model without some gold trim. Gotta love chaos. Oh man, oh man, oh man. So I don't know what everybody else is thinking. Anybody got some cool projects or armies that they're working on? you know, with all this new stuff that dropped for the 9th edition of 40K, or even if you were working on maybe something from an Age of Sigmar project. It was not, thank God that wasn't a contrast paint can. If that was a contrast paint can, I would have just lost half the paint. I don't know, for all you folks that use contrast out there, that is my like #1 nightmare. That keeps me up at night. The ability to lose, potentially losing contrast paint, which I'm not a fan of. Can't tell you how many times when I first started painting contrast paints, how often I knocked the well over, and almost lost all the paint. Alright, I'm going to take just a simple, quick break. See what you guys have to say, what you might be thinking, just for a moment, while I let some of that gold dry. And then we'll get back to doing some of the gold detail and continuing to do that gold trim on our Lord Discordant. Oops. Which, I'm really liking how these Lord Discordants are coming out. They're coming out really nice. And I have to paint up 3 of them. I painted up 1, this is the second one, and then you can see that third one looming in the back, which there's a little bit of customization, so that third one's going to be a little bit easier to keep it distinct. But we will be looking at some tricks just to change it up, because like I said, I want to make sure that they look different, so there's a little bit more variety in the army. Let's see how we can go. So nobody's working on anything, huh? Alright. That's okay. The answer of no is an acceptable answer. What are some of the armies that everybody plays out there? I'm curious. Or they're just folks that are new to 40K in general, or new to Warhammer. Blech. New to Warhammer. That's what I was trying to say, but I failed miserably. Because if you're new to Warhammer, obviously great time to get into Warhammer, because it's a new edition time. So it's an interesting time to get into playing Warhammer, because so many people are getting it's a new rule set, so you're sort of learning with everybody else. So that's why I typically like to see new players get in on times like this, so that they can not feel as intimidated when they go to their local game store. And also, other curiosity of mine is how many folks out there that are watching have been able to get to their local game store to play. Is there anybody out there that their local game store is back up and running and able to run run tabletop gaming in their areas. So for the folks that were saying paint looks a little shiny, you're gonna see how I'm gonna treat it in just a minute. And that shininess is the pooling. So when you use contrast paints, if you see how I'm letting it pool? If you just leave it there and just let it pool, it can get like that. But what I'm doing is I'm just lightly brushing it in, because to be honest, that front part, I don't know, I was having a little trouble with the paint. It was like causing a little variation in the paint. So I'm actually going to go back over that front one. So I can hide a little bit more of those brush strokes. And that's a little bit more. And that's the cool thing about contrast paints that a lot of people don't know. Is that if you do the contrast paints, if you go back over them, you can make colors darker. So you can make the colors actually look darker by going back over it after it dries. Contrast paints need about 15 to 20 minutes for them to dry. If you're new to contrast paints and you haven't used them before. I don't know, it seems like we keep having people pop in and pop out, so I hope people are liking what they're seeing. They're thinking that the stream is interesting. And you'd want to see more. I hope. And like I said, please don't hesitate. Damn it. Please don't hesitate. I feel like I'm like so out of it today. Why does it feel like it's so much harder to paint? Maybe because it's just warm in this room. That's probably why. And if you guys like what you've been hearing, please don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel, so you can know when we're live, when we'll be painting. Oh geez, okay. Or that could happen. Oh, because my PC decided to turn on. That's why that happened. Wonderful. I don't know why my PC's decided to turn on. That's weird. I don't know why I feel like. Man, I think this brush is ready to go to stronger to go to the farm for dead brushes, because I think I like this. Oh no, it's also because I didn't do a good job with the blue. So there's a lot of white in the blue because I actually didn't paint all of it, and that's what I'm seeing as what looks like problems with the gold. You guys are kind of seeing what I'm doing. How's everybody doing? Like I said, if you like what you see, if you want to see more, please don't hesitate to hit the follow button, follow the channel, so you know when we're live. I'm going to be doing a lot more painting videos. I got so much stuff coming, it's not even funny. You know, what's cool about this channel is I'm not going to only do GW stuff. I have tons of stuff coming from Mantic Games, who's going to actually be officially sponsoring some of my videos. So I'll be doing some, you know, Kings of War stuff. So Kings of War models that are going to be happening and showing off a little bit of the mechanics of that game. So if you ever were interested in checking out Kings of War and some of their variety of games from Mantic Games, I'll be doing some official stuff with them. I'll also be doing some of the Hellboy board games. So if you guys are into not only Warhammer type of tabletop stuff, I'll be doing those properties as well. So that's going to be a lot cool. And as you can see, we got some Marvel Crisi Protocol figures that are looming in the background there. So I'll be doing that game as well. So lots and lots of content. Some cool Warhammer Quest stuff. Got lots of things planned. Just got to get it all done. And I will be getting it all done. I promise you guys. Paint the entire thing up. Keep finding different angles where I didn't paint part of the gold. Just so annoying. Gold trim is like I said, it's my nemesis. There's so much gold trim on these models. I feel like that's all I've been painting for the last couple of months. It's just gold trim. Gold trim, gold trim. Did you want some more gold trim with that? Yeah, so I was going to say, for anyone that's going to paint a Chaos Army, if you don't like painting gold trim, you should probably not buy a Chaos Army. There's so much gold trim. Now, not to say you can't pick, not to say you cannot paint a Chaos Army in a color scheme that will not have gold trim, because that is 100% not true. There are damn it. There are chaos color schemes that do not involve gold. A lot of them do, but not all of them do. Oh, Lord. No, I didn't paint any of this. Did not realize that. Okay. So that's all gotta be gold trim. Brush has got too much water on it. No. And I always like to ask too, if you're comfortable with sharing, I always like to ask the folks that are watching, where are you all from? I know this late at night, usually I start to see folks from, different countries and different parts of the world. But I'm always curious. Where's everybody from? Oh, everyone's so quiet. Everyone's so quiet and engrossed in the model. They just want to see the model be painted. They want to experience it. I understand. I understand where you guys are coming from. I get it. Yeah, I know a lot of folks usually that watch me around this time are usually checking us out from whether it be England or Australia. Which is pretty cool. I like those places. I think it's cool. I've been to England. I've not been to Australia. And when I went to England, it was very cool. I really liked it there. I haven't really asked anyone that's in England, but I'm always curious to know, like, what if anything, is there like do they do like alternative releases in those countries for GW stuff? Um, is there like editions that you can get I'm from the United States, so I always am curious. Like, is there editions of games you can get that are different, or do they have any model exclusives or alternative model exclusives? Which I always am curious about. I know that they have web exclusives, like for Games Workshop, but I always wonder if they have specific. Because I know, like, for I'm also a pretty avid video game person as well. Which, if you like video game playthrough videos, we do those on this channel as well. So if you're a fan of those, you can check that out as well. And then also, as I was saying before, not only do I have GW related stuff, but I also do. I also love a lot of other tabletop RPG games, or just tabletop board games. So, I will be doing from time to time that content as well. All right, so I think that's a good starting point for our Lord Discordant. I'll be doing more. I'm probably going to paint a little bit more of him off camera, just so you guys can see this a little further along. But what I wanted to do was switch gears and do a little bit more of. I was working on my Groot from Marvel Crisi Protocol. So for folks that are not familiar with this game, this is it is a Marvel tabletop game. Small, like pretty much small squad based game. So it's got a little bit more remnants of like a Kill Team feel or a Warcry feel if you're a Age of Sigmar player, not just a 40k player. So it's got a little bit more of that feel to it. And as you can see, the scale of the models is a little bit different than than 40k. You're looking at a 40 millimeter scale for the Marvel Crisi Protocol game. So the models are a little bit on the larger side. But it's pretty cool. Like I said, it's a small squad based game. So you can construct your team of any combination of heroes that you would like. So you don't have to, you get good guys, bad guys, everybody can be on one team. And similar to how they have, how you have like a point game or you're matching up. Ooh, wow. So the minute I didn't paint something that was Warhammer related, people jetted out. Alright, well, it's your loss, guys. Um, I do not regret the decision because I have to get all this stuff done. Now, I wanted to take a break. I like to switch things up. Sometimes I'll do that. I'll have like 2 models I'm painting at once, and I do that also for drying times. So, you know, you can go into a model. Okay, so that's all going to be a different color. You know, I can let that model really sit, really dry. I think I got that all colored in. And then I gotta pull out with a different. So I'm using Skeleton Horde for the main wood color. And then I'm using actually the other contrast wood colors, Gilliman Flesh, brown colors. I shouldn't say wood colors because they're not. And Snakebite to give the tree a more striking you know, more striking set of color. So you can see I really like using the multi-layered browns because then it gives a little bit more dynamic to him as a tree. So it looks like he's got different roots. Some roots are aged, some branches are aged more. Oh wow, went all the way down to 1. You guys abandoned me. That's so messed up. I can't. Everybody left. What is up, man? Really? I'm telling you, it's something about, and it scares me a little bit, and I always get nervous for like the future of things like Warhammer because. I don't know. There's like some fans out there, and I get it. Like everybody's got their jam, everybody's got their game. But always get nervous because I feel like it's very much like it's unspoken mentality that like if you're not doing something that's 40K related, like it's Warhammer or nothing for some folks, and that's okay. I get it. Like that's your jam, but you should really try some other games too, because there's some really awesome tabletop games out there that I think if you give it a shot, you'd really enjoy. You know, now granted, if you're not a Marvel fan, obviously a Marvel-based tabletop game might not be. Probably not going to be the best game you played this year. I don't know. I thought when I streamed, like, folks would just really like the video. They would like the fact that we're painting something and like learning painting techniques. Because whether it's a GW model or not, you're still going to learn some painting techniques by watching this stuff. Yeah, man, everybody like ditched me like a bad habit. Wow. Because I pissed everybody off because I didn't do the 40K model. Sorry, guys. I have a lot of models I gotta get done. It's not just that one. I wanted to just take a little bit of a breather, and get something a little bit more on, interesting finished. Because I've been painting that Lord Discordant for a while, and I painted another one just now, so it's like my brain's getting a little like docile about it. But I hope you come back. I hope you guys follow and subscribe. Going in with a little bit more paint. Now my goal with him, like I said, is that I'm really using the different browns to pick out different elements of the figure, so it looks a little bit more compelling, and then I'm going to use it for a lot of the shading. So again, this is a cool example of how to use contrast paints more effectively. And the rule of thumb and the way you have to always remember about them is you go light to dark. It's the opposite if you have been for a while a hardcore painter, where you've been, maybe using a lot of black primer when you paint, where you go from dark to light. So you have to pull it. You have to really have the highlights rest on top of you have to have them rest on top of your model. Like I said, I hope you guys are enjoying the painting. I hope you find the Groot interesting. But yeah, it's crazy. I started painting a Marvel model and everybody just almost. That's nuts. So I know it says I'm painting Warhammer models. I'm actually painting up a Marvel Crisi Protocol model at the moment. Just took a little bit of break from my Lord Discordant, which is behind me. I wanted to get this model a little bit more further along, because as you can see, I'm very, very close to finishing this up. And I figured we're still using GW paints. We're still, learning about using contrast paints for painting up stuff. So I thought it would be still a compelling, interesting video. And of course, if you guys have questions about Marvel Crisi Protocol, the game, what it's all about, I'd be more than happy to answer those questions. As I was telling people before, it is a squad-based game. So what I like about Marvel Crisi Protocol, that's a little bit different than your traditional GW Warhammer or larger game, is I like the fact that it is a small squad-based game. So, what that translates for you is that you don't have to spend a lot of money to play this game, which I am a big fan of. I am a huge fan of. And that's why, no offense to GW and their products, but that was why the aforementioned comment before, which is, I know a lot of people, they tune in, they're like, oh, he's not doing Warhammer stuff, I'm going to run. But it's interesting to check out other tabletop games, because we're all used to GW, right? And GW is like pricing for models and for things. And, quite frankly, their pricing is a little crazy. And specifically, if you've been keeping up with their price scheme, they actually raised a lot of their prices coming out of the crazy time that we're all a part of right now, which I think, as a company, that was a not so good move, because you're asking, in a time where people may have very, very different things going on. You're asking people to pay more for a luxury product, you know, and you know, I don't know about you, but if you know, and I'm sure there's a lot of folks out there that have probably made jokes to their friends or their play group about, you know, maybe being willing to like not buy food and buy GW models, but I think if we all had to make choices like that, we probably would pick the food. I hope. So you know, just it makes me a little annoyed as a fan of GW and Games Workshop that they made something that was already a little bit of a pricey product harder to get. You know, and I get it. GW does, like, their models are great. They do a lot of research on all their models and what they're doing. But, you know, other companies, you know, their response to COVID and the new world and markets was to actually lower their prices. So, you know, just saying. You know, and it's funny, not necessarily Atomic Mass Games who makes this, but for companies like Mantic Games and for other companies out there, they actually lowered their prices going at it out of the coronavirus and, you know, people being at home and shuttered. So, and like I said, not condemning a company because they did that, but it was not to me it was not a fun surprise to go to the newly opened GW site and realize that they upped the price for most stuff. Hey there, yeah, I got into painting 40K models due to COVID, but hearing pricing went up was a bit of a disappointment. Yeah. Yep. It did. It was just like, come on, guys, like, really? Your models were already really expensive, and then it's like case in point across the board. Like, I just picked up, what did I just pick up? The, like, a great example is the Prophecy of the Wolf box set for 40K. You know, Prophecy of the Wolf box set, which I got my main man's, my orc over there that came in, that came in it, right? Great model, but if that box is priced at $170, and it is not worth $170. I'm sorry, it's not. You know, what you get in it is, you know, to me, not worth that price. You know, and it's just, it just makes me a little bit angry. You know, take a game like this, Marvel Crisi Protocol, which is of course Marvel themed, and it's a small squad-based game. But this model that I'm holding in my hand, which is Groot, and then which by the way came with Rocket, who's sitting next to this. Those two models together were $40. Now, if this was a GW model, one of these characters would have been $40. And for that $40, you would have gotten a black base. You wouldn't have gotten a modeled theme base like you see here on the bottom. You wouldn't have gotten additional debris to put on the base, which is the little cup and the other stuff that's on there. And in GW's pricing, since Groot is a larger model, we all know that this particular set would not have been $40. It actually would have been more because Groot is a larger model, so GW would have charged more for that model. So, you know, that's what I mean when I say to folks, you know, before you're quick to say, oh, he's not painting a Warhammer model, let me get out of here because it's not Warhammer. You know, be open-minded to some of those other games. You know, there's a lot of companies making a lot of really cool games right now. Um, and don't close yourself off to the other tabletop games that might be out there. Because you can breeze by a game that's a lot of fun, a good game, has some interesting mechanics and dynamics, but you could also get a lot of stuff for a lot less money. You know, and that's, I think, what's happening with the Manic Games and Kings of War. I know so many people that are using their models for GW replacements, so they're actually using it to buy stuff for a custom, their GW army, because the models are so much more affordable. Anything sci-fi style if you're into the 40K future style. Yeah. I don't know why there's a question mark. Or are you asking me what are some other games that are future based? I apologize if I'm not quick on the uptick with that one. Sorry. Oh, sci-fi games. Okay, so other sci-fi games that are not 40K. Well, I mean, so there's a lot of other alternatives to 40K. Well, I mean, so sci-fi games. Why my brain just blanked? Wow, my brain just went. What the heck? I had a game on the tip of my. I had a game on the tip. Oh, BattleTech. So BattleTech is one. BattleTech is like Gundam. It's like big robots. And then Monster Mayhem. Not Monster Mayhem. Yeah, isn't it Monster Mayhem? There's a tabletop game that you play the role of giant monsters. So like Godzilla and things. But you have forces. There's also tanks and other sci-fi stuff you can put on your forces. So that would be an alternative as well. So some good games to check out. Other stuff, if you're into like 40K feel with like tech and stuff, Riot, Crash Riot. That's this game that I have models for. Crash Riot's more like a combat game, like an arena-based game. If you like sci-fi stuff and you like racing, Gaslands. Gaslands is probably one of the cheapest games you'll ever play. Gaslands is literally using, it's using Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars. So you literally take Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars, you customize them with little bits to make them look interesting, and the rules literally cost $14. So you buy Matchbox cars. Matchbox cars cost like $1. You could buy a pack of them and get a whole big thing, and it's basically Death Race. So that's, but it can be sci-fi too because you can put sci-fi weapons on the cars and stuff. But it's a little bit more like Death Race. If you know that movie or that franchise. So I hope that helps give you some ideas. As far as fantasy, there's a lot of alternative fantasy genres out there. There's also like other really cool games like I think it's Skyterra, that's it. Yeah, definitely. Thanks. That's super helpful. Yeah, I think is it Skyterra. Basically, there's a game, and I'm blanking on the name of it now. That's it's almost like a video game. It's like an MMO, kind of, where you have heroes, and it has cooldowns and stuff like League of Legends and like those types of MMOs, the video games. But it's in like a tabletop form, which is pretty cool. But yeah, you should always be open to like other games, which is why, although I said I was painting 40K models, I am now painting Groot from Marvel Crisi Protocol. Yeah, you want to broaden your horizons. And then for board games, there's a lot of really cool board games out there. If you want actually, would we consider? I guess you could consider it sci-fi. There is a game called, if you want a really cool game, it's called Aftermath. Aftermath is an interesting game. It's what they call a storybook board game. And what is a storybook board game mean? What it means is that the game board is literally like a book, a story that you're playing through. And then you have models and miniatures and other things and counters that you use. And it's pretty cool. And what it is about is you play mice and guinea pigs that are left in a world that humans used to be in, but all the humans are gone. You don't know why the humans are gone. And you guys are fending and surviving in this wild world, this post-apocalyptic world. And you meet, you can, what's cool about the game is you can solve problems by being diplomatic in some cases. You will have just straight combat. You fight a variety of different enemies, different mice, rats, scorpions. One of the big antagonists of the game is a giant, feral cat that you have to fight. And it's cool because it has the majority of the characters are minis. Some of them are not. Some of them are card based. But you get a lot of minis. You can paint it up. It's a lot of fun. And it's just a very cool cooperative board game. I'm getting into more and more cooperative board games. And then I guess if you want another science fiction based board game, I love how I'm just becoming like an encyclopedia of board games now. I was going to say it. I will be, if you want to come back and you want to subscribe. So, if you like what you're hearing, if you like the commentary and you like the painting, please don't hesitate to follow the channel so you know when we're live. But what I was going to say was I'm going to be doing it, but the Hellboy board game. If you want another, that's another science fiction-y, supernatural science fiction-y game. And I'll be doing some reviews of that actually on the channel. So, not only painting those models, but playing the game. Again, this is just a technique with contrast paints. Like I said, if you wait for the contrast paints to dry, you can go back over them and you can make it definitely, you can do effects where you really do get, a darker tone. I always tell people when you start to work with contrast paints, you really start to get into the idea of what I call inking. For sure, I'm hyped to see it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's going to be officially sponsored by Mantic Games. I'll be getting. The holiday kind of screwed it up, but I'll be getting a ton of stuff from Mantic. So it's going to be Kings of War stuff. So we'll be doing Kings of War gameplay on the channel. We'll be doing Vanguard, Vanguard is their version of like Kill Team. For 40k players, Warcry for Age of Sigmar players. So they have their own kind of version of you doing smaller squad based stuff. And I mean I shouldn't say what's cool about them because it's true in GW as well. Just like in Games Workshop's case, you can in Kings of War, anything you play with in Vanguard will also be units in their Kings of War. They're bigger army based, and then actually that is an alternative. I didn't even think of that. Kings of War has a futuristic setting that you can play in. I forget what it's called though. So Mantic Games makes a setting too. I think it's called Starfighter. That might be what that's called. I won't necessarily be doing that. I'm actually sticking to their fantasy realm, just because I tend, as you can see from my models, there's a lot of models here, but I kind of tend to lean towards fantasy more. I've played both, but I tend to in GW. I like the Age of Sigmar. Well, I now like the Age of Sigmar setting. I was gonna say back in the day I played Warhammer Fantasy, so that's my jam. I love me some Warhammer Fantasy. And I will have as a throwback on this channel. I'm getting it all assembled now, but I actually was able to get myself a copy. I was able to get myself a copy of the Silver Tower Warhammer Quest. So I will be doing some games with some friends. It'll be virtually, which is going to be really, really crazy. I don't know. I don't completely know how I'm going to figure that out yet, but things like Warhammer Quest are easy to do because they're dungeon crawler kind of games. So it's a can't say words. Dungeon crawler experience is what I meant. Trying to say. Alright, so you guys can see, started to do some embellishment in the base down there. So you can see what we're doing on Groot here. Now the plan on Groot is to have, since I painted the back of him green, is to actually, I'm going to put actual grass coming out of that, so grass effects. So he's got a little bit more of that living tree vibe, which he's pretty much done. I'm going to pull out a little bit more with some of the darker browns in his character, but he's getting to the point where I'm going to say he is pretty done, which is exciting because once I get Rocket done, I will have officially painted every Marvel Crisis Protocol figure I have, and then I can work on my terrain for when I do battle reports for you guys. But it's very cool, and I think he's coming out. I really like the way he came out, and I think if I had to shout out the contrast paint line, one of the unsung heroes of it, it's the browns. All of the browns for the contrast paints are amazing. Even if you don't like contrast paints, like you typically don't use them, you might want to consider getting at least the browns. I mean, at least I think so. Because the browns are, they're just very striking, you know, and for me in particular, some of these browns have now replaced, you know, the brown that I would have normally used. Like Snakebite leather has now become the standard brown I use for all my leather on everything. And then Gilliman Flesh has become my new standard for base tone, usually for skin tone. But as you can see, I'm using it on parts of Groot here. Just to give, again, it was just to give the tree a little bit more of a variety of color. And like I said, if you guys like the commentary, if you like what you see, if you think it's cool, if you think I'm cool, if you like everyone on the planet a little bit, no, I was going to say, if you like what you see, you like what you hear, please don't hesitate to follow the channel. That's how you're going to know when we're live and we're doing more painting and more talking. And obviously, so you can be in time and in tune for the reviews. So when I'm doing other reviews and other things, you know, make sure that you're following us. And I will be having some really cool stuff coming down the pike. My hope is to start doing, you know, once I get the initial stuff from Mantic Games, I'm hoping to get some giveaways for you guys, doing some painting raffles, and even have access to some cell work for painting. So, and then also, you know, while you guys are looking at this, if you feel so inclined, to go to, you know, once you're done, you can definitely take a look at some of the other content that we do. So, you know, doing gameplay videos, so I do video game stuff, toy reviews. I am also an artist and illustrator, so I do live drawing. Um, so really cool stuff. I'm a really big fan when it comes to the drawing stuff, of doing like mashups. So I'm always a fan of mashing up heroes or characters. So yeah, I'm a multi-threaded channel. So you got a lot of stuff to take a look at. Sorry guys, I took them off camera for 1 minute. I just want to get underneath something. I wanted to just give, you know, I'm trying to create essentially, you know, you know, kind of like a Starbucks cup, like a coffee cup. And by the way, I think that's really cool. I love that they give you, he looks great. And I know only a little bit about contrast paints. Can they replace like 2 to 3 paints at once? Yes, they can. So they do. So if you look at, so for instance, if you guys look when I did the base, because you guys were all watching me do that, that was one color. That's the same color. So that is a gray, but what you'll notice is that what did I do? I put the gray down, I let it dry, and then I went back with more gray. And so by making a pool, I actually created a darker gray. So I created 2 tones of gray with one color. That's number one. So kind of, think about it, you're almost doing your shadows and your highlights with the one color. But what happens is a lot of, like, so for instance, all of the wood you see, I didn't really emphasize that more. I mean, I did go in with a darker color for some of it, for some of the close-ups of that. But for the most part, that's just when you apply the paint. The idea with contrast is that it goes into the pores. So they call it contrast because you'll get a lighter and a darker tone just because it fills in the crevices. But what I find is really helpful is I'm actually using the contrast paints as more like bases. So sometimes I'll just use the contrast paint, I'll let it do its thing, and that's all I'll do. But then other times, as you'll see in this model, I'll go back in and layer it with either more contrast paints, or I might even go in and layer it with traditional GW paints. So for instance, when I do skin tone now, I tend to do skin tone as the Gilliman, and then I'll go in with the Ruckfur skin, which is a traditional Citadel paint. So I'll actually use that to lighten up areas of the skin, so you get more of a dynamic of darker crevices, lighter top parts. I don't have my Thor here that I painted, but I did that with him. So yeah, and then the other piece is with contrast. You can, like I said, you let it dry for 15 to 20 minutes. You can come back and just keep layering it to darken the color that you get, because that's how contrast is supposed to work. But yeah, they're basically, contrasts are taking away 3 steps, because if you normally did this model, most of us would do a base coat, we do a layer coat, and then you do a wash. And it would be those 3 things that you would do to create the depth and everything that we talk about on the GW model. But with contrast, you literally just lay the contrast on and you're good to go. But if you take it a step further and layer some of the other paints into it, like this is a great example, of this one that I did, which is a Necromunda. I actually was going to use this for Necromunda for a custom ganger. But so what you see there, contrast red, which is Blood Angels red. But then I started to use traditional yellow GW paints to do the pustules or the scales on there. So I'm layering contrast and traditional paint to create other tones. It also creates other color dynamics and other things. So I hope that helped. A little crash course in contrast. You know what, maybe I'll do, maybe if you guys would like to see that, and that's why I'm going to be setting up a YouTube channel for painting, so I can do more of those types of videos too, not just the live stuff where I do live painting. I just realized for me it is quite late, so I think I may actually, you know what? No, I'm not ready to go yet. I got one more thing to do. Do I have? All right, let's see. No, I do not. Oh, it's right there. Cool. Oh, that's what I heard fall before. I heard something fall. I didn't know what it was. Now, also another thing to remember about contrast paints for folks that are new to them is that the brush that you use is going to very much determine what kind of contrast effects you get. So because contrast paints were really designed, so contrast paints, to just put it out there, contrast paints were meant to be applied with a fairly large brush. So they want you to have a good amount of contrast paint on there so it fills in those crevices. When you use a smaller brush, like a detail brush like I do, it really concentrates that contrast paint. So you want to be careful when you're doing armor or bigger areas. You want to use a brush that's going to apply it very evenly. So I actually use an edge brush. Like if I'm doing tanks or I'm doing other stuff, you can use contrast for armored stuff. It's a misnomer that you can't. It's just about the technique and learning how to evenly apply the contrast. Because it does have more of a painterly look. It doesn't always dry because, again, when you're painting with it, it'll pool. So you want to make sure you catch those pools and get them out if you don't want them to be there. Or you're going to get some variation and interesting stuff. Alright. Yeah, like for instance, I'm probably going to mix some yellow. I might put some highlights on these little buds that are there. There's little things I'm going to do to emphasize this more. He's actually pretty much almost done. There's very little on him left I have to do, and I've already pulled out a lot. So I think I'm pretty good with him, but I'll do like a final check on him, do like little... and again, just a reminder, the main color on this is Skeleton Horde. That's helpful. Thanks. Thank you. I wasn't sure if I should consider getting them yet, as I'm just starting. Yeah, I mean, I will say, if you're just starting to paint, it's not that contrast paints are harder. A lot of people will tell you that. It's not that they're harder, but there is a little bit more of a nuance to them. And I will say, for someone that is new, what a lot of people new to painting don't realize is how daunting painting something primed in white is. So when you have something that's completely white, a model that's primed in white, because of course, don't forget, if you use contrast, and I should also mention that before we end this, you do have to prime your model in white. Contrast paints are opaque, they're see-through, so they only work with a white base. Now, there are two contrast primers that Games Workshop sells. One is Wraithbone, which is like for warmer colors. So technically, with Groot, because he was going to be more browns, Wraithbone would have made him look a little different if I primed him in that. And then Gray Seer is the other for cooler colors, if you're going to use cool colors as your main color scheme. But I say painting something in white is daunting for a new painter, because as you saw in my Lord Discordant when we were painting it, if you have a little bit of white showing, like, you see all the mistakes. So it's very unforgiving when you prime something in white, because you have to be very on the ball, very meticulous. So for a new painter, it may take you a little bit longer to paint, but it's a good learning experience because the longer period and the nuances you learn in that are going to help you to be a stronger painter overall. So I don't think contrasts are out of the realm for a beginner. And in fact, it's probably better to get contrast if you're thinking about doing it, because it is kind of like learning two different ways to paint. So you kind of want to decide which one you want. I feel if you do contrast, you can always incorporate the other colors. Whereas if you go the other route, you can't really incorporate the contrast. So that's my 2 cents on that. And if anyone else has any alternative thoughts, I'm always up for people sharing their ideas and beliefs with that stuff. But yeah, like I said, you know, when I first started painting and I did one of my first models in white, I wanted to like shoot myself. Like legit. I was like totally angry the whole time I painted it. Because it just felt like it was never done. And I was like, damn it, this is never going to end. I'm going to be painting this forever. And it's just because you see all the mistakes. So, but then once I did it for a while, then I got better at it. And then the contrast really upped the game with that. So, now I actually prime them in Cortex White. You can do Cortex White as well. It's just going to be flat though. So the colors may seem a little flat, which is why I'm going in with variation and doing some other stuff to make them sing a little bit more and to give more contrast to the contrast paints, which is kind of funny to say that way. All right. Well, like I said, it is massively late for me, and I do have to get up in a few hours. But this was awesome. For anyone that's still watching that hasn't followed us yet, or for anyone that's watched this after we were live, please consider following the channel. Following the channel is the best way for us to, get further in Twitch. It allows us to get more into the community. We can, see and hear other people's point of views. Other folks can find us, all that good stuff, and it, helps me to build other content for you guys here at the channel. And I say following is awesome because it's 100% free. It doesn't cost anything to follow our channel. It's a great way to support us in this time. And again, I'll be having more painting videos, both of stuff like this Marvel Crisi Protocol model that you just saw me painting a little bit, the Lord Discordant, which we were painting before that. So I'll be doing 40K, Age of Sigmar, Kings of War, lots of other kinds of painting content, other gaming content, video game content, live art. We do a lot of things at the channel, so please think about following. There's some other links below. That's some other monetary ways. Wow, this is just weird. Sorry guys. There's some other monetary ways to follow us and help us. So you see a link to my website. You also see a link to our Patreon. My Patreon is actually to my indie comics that I'll be doing. I actually have one of them up there now if you become a subscriber of the Patreon. I'll be releasing some other ones. It's going to be really cool. They're going to be sort of bringing back the idea of the Sunday comics. They're going to be multi-storied strips. They're going to be episodic. They're going to have different things going on. So you're going to have different stories and different characters that are all my original design. And then you can check out my website where both you can check out my painting, other examples of it. You can also check out my art and illustration. And again, through my website, you can totally hire me for commissions in both areas. I do commission painting. I also do commission artwork. So if you ever thought about getting some stuff done or just getting your favorite characters, like I said, I love mashups when it comes to art. And I love comic books. I love cartooning. I'm a huge fan. I love doing it. I'm also a fine artist as well. That's some other monetary ways. But I know right now, monetarily, we're all in tough spots. So I understand if you can't support that way. That's why please think about following us. Check out our Facebook page, Modern Geek Comics. You can also check out my Instagram, which is Vant Mario. So please go out, follow. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for talking. Thanks for asking questions. I hope I helped, and I hope you liked the content. Again, please wash your hands, stay safe, and respect all the fine people of this planet, because it's only when we work together that we can solve the problems that are going to get in our way in the future, and also solve the problems of today and get into a better future. So again, if we're all here, if we're all respecting each other, it doesn't matter where we come from, it doesn't matter who you are, whether you are a talking tree, a raccoon, whatever that is. Respect everybody on this planet. Respect all the life forms. Respect all of the peoples, because we got to all work together. All right. Take care, everybody. See you soon. And please think about checking us out. All right. Take care.